Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast Dragon Ball edition. Today we are here reviewing Dragon Ball Battle Hour, which just concluded this past weekend. We are recording the Tuesday after it, as it was on the 18th and 19th, and we're recording on the 21st. We have the Dragon Ball expert with us, Mr. Mitch Osa. How are you doing today, sir?
Great as always. How about yourself?
I am doing well, man. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. We got a Battle Hour delivered, and we're just going to go right into the stuff, give our thoughts, and then go from there. First new trailer that was shown was Beerus, Dragon Ball Super Beerus. They showed the original trailer that was showed at the January event that we reviewed, and that we were no, we had a live stream for that one, and then they showed a new trailer for this specific event. Mitch, you've had a chance to watch the trailer. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I'm excited. Story looks, visually so much better um, than what it originally was made out, both in the film and in the anime. So, I think alone the Beerus film will like cosmetically looking so good will actually really enhance the story that was told upon it. I'm excited. I didn't think just a rehashing of the same story would be um like something I would be as excited for, but it's caught my attention. And I think we all should be extremely excited for this. And it's also a nice little tease or like an appetizer, before the anime like returns. So, but yeah, it looks great. It's like I can only just, rem or think about all of the horrible, shots from the anime during, the Beerus saga that everyone has made fun of for, a decade,
Right.
and just everything gets, is getting finally fixed. So, yeah,
Right.
it's yeah, it's real good.
I agree. I knew it was going to be a big deal for the second trailer because I was able to tune into the live stream. They had different videos, but they had both voices of Beerus, who did videos for the Battle Hour. So you had the Japanese voice of Beerus and the English voice of Beerus, both talking about this enhanced thing. So they are on board with that. Mitch has said in the fall. Usually for us Dragon Ball fans, if they're saying in the fall, that means typically it'll be here in October.
Yep.
Um, and it's supposed to be 6 episodes. And then what got people going to at the end of the second trailer, you got a teaser for
Oh yeah.
Frieza.
Yep. Yep. They're going to give Resurrection F the same treatment as Beerus, which arguably you could say that Resurrection F actually needed it more
Mhm.
than like Beerus, um, because it followed suit and it was just mishandled. It was more mishandled because at least with Beerus, it was like a return to the fold. So it's
Mhm.
like, okay, let them get their bearings. How much do they want to put into the budget and all that stuff? But then, with the success of Beerus, it was like, okay, maybe you should open up your pocketbooks a little bit, and spend some more. And it's like they maybe they obviously did spend more numerically, but like maybe not the appropriate amount. So yeah, we're going to get a Frieza rehashing, and just like with Beerus, I'm excited for that. Yeah, I'm curious as to how in both of these stories, how they might tweak or edit the story itself, like the plot points,
Yeah.
um, because in the interviews they say that the stories are going to be reconstructed. And then, as you and I were discussing about what that potentially means, my initial thought of that was they were actually going to fix some of the plot points that throughout the run of Super kind of conflicted with some things,
Mhm.
or maybe just gave a little more explanation towards some stuff, um, or maybe a long shot they were going to change some of Super's original foundations to line up with Daima a little more. So,
Hmm.
um, but um, but then as you had mentioned that you suspect that that could mean they're just kind of condensing the story a little bit, just because they're turning, a movie and some anime episodes into this smaller, more focused project. So,
Yeah, because the Beers thing's supposed to be 6 episodes. Let's just assume all these things are six. Let's say this takes us to, let's say in theory, if hopefully they don't like talk about this Frieza thing, then they're like, oh, Frieza's not coming till fall 2027. Because then I feel like that would ruin the plans of us thinking we're getting more on 2027. Or maybe it's going to be 6 episodes each until we get to October 2027. Then they drop Moro. Because I feel like that's supposed to be the goal.
right. I believe
So,
so. That
so we'll see. It's exciting. I mean, we know fall will have some stuff. We'll obviously be comparing the Beerus and Frieza one will be interesting because we'll be comparing it to what, three different versions?
right,
Like instead of like Tournament of Power, all that they have obviously, well, if you want to include the manga, really, like four different versions, but just like things you've seen on TV. You saw the Beerus and Frieza movie, you saw the anime, and now this version. So you'll have three different versions to compare, which is a lot, but
right.
we'll see how that goes, Mitch. But yeah, that's in October. But other big news from what we talked about last time, just now, Xenoverse in general. Dragon Ball Project 1000 had a big trailer this past weekend, officially shown as Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 3. We all had the inkling of that, but now it's official.
Yeah.
And you could go right now on your PlayStation, Xbox, Steam. You could click wish list now for it because that is supposed to come out in 2027 as well, which could be if all plans serve Moro and this in 2027 is crazy. But then on the flip side of that, Xenoverse 2 had their trailer for their last DLC, which they stated this is the final DLC ever for this game because we know Xenoverse 3 is coming, and that's 10 years in the making. They're gonna have basically their Time Patroller endgame moment, it's looking like. And just two fronts, Mitch. How do you feel that Xenoverse 3 is officially confirmed for next year, and that after 10 years, this last DLC is officially Xenoverse 2's last?
It is obviously an end of an era, and an era in which I think Xenoverse 2 should be the blueprint of how a video game's longevity should be handled.
Hmm.
You remember from Xenoverse 1 was a botched season pass back then.
Yep.
Completely pathetic and just did not land the mark, almost non-existent. And then they came back with Xenoverse 2 and they had constant support, like decent support, with, the rehashing of the story. And it wasn't just like, take Call of Duty, for example. Call of Duty is easy to pick on, so we're going to just, keep picking them on. They could just they can roll out a new map pack. They can do new cosmetic for games
Hmm.
or for weapons in the game. And then they just push that out to people. And for some people, that's great, but for some people, that gets stale really quick.
Hmm.
But with Xenoverse, they pumped out new DLC that made it feel like it was its own game in itself. New
Hmm.
story, plot threads, cosmetics, new mechanics to the game, like over the years. So
Hmm.
Xenoverse 2 is is what every post release support a game should have. Um, and that goes against, like, let's say, like what Elder Scrolls has done with like Skyrim. While Skyrim is an amazing game, and there have been, they released like two or three DLCs for that. Unless you are in the community, the modded community, the game is always the same. Granted, there's a lot to it, but it's always the same. And then we shouldn't have to be waiting until Elder Scrolls 6 comes out for any sort of, like the next step in the game. Xenoverse took those steps even after Xenoverse 2 was done. So, um, sorry, Todd Howard, keep your hair on your head, man, because you might not want us to talk about Elder Scrolls 6, but here we are in a Dragon Ball podcast already telling you what you did wrong. So, but, uh, but yeah, and we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Xenoverse 3. I mean, from the original trailer that we got, it's about, what do they say, 300 years in the future?
Yeah,
Or,
about 250, I think. 200, 250 years, something like that, 300, around
yes.
there.
So then you see, so obviously we'll see how that story goes. And they said that was Bulma, which there is no way Bulma should be alive 250 years later.
Yeah, she has to basically get like not knowing what the story's about, but let's say, same kind of thing with the Time Patrol. Like she needs to be working with the Time Patrol to have that kind of longevity. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because I was like, that makes no sense.
no, I'm not even. Are we sure that's Piccolo that everyone talks about as aura farming, or do you think that's just a character with Piccolo's cosmetics, like
It
his
could,
outfit? You know what I mean?
I have no idea. It could be good. I don't think we should assume, but you're right. I don't think people are even thinking of that. Like that could be Piccolo, someone with his
Yeah,
cosmetics.
everyone just goes right straight to, oh, there's Piccolo aura farming as he's done since 1995. Um, but uh,
That
but yeah,
was Gamma though. That was Gamma 1.
yeah. Oh, well, he should be alive,
Yeah.
assuming androids, do live forever with
Yeah.
proper maintenance, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Man, it's just crazy thinking how this is really like official because I mean, just to think where that Xenoverse 2 came out 2016, which will be the final anniversary for it this year. And like you've already said, how much content it's boasted out, how it's followed all of Super, how it's put other
yep,
characters, has been one of the few games that has consistently gotten support. Probably the last real standing game that's been getting support from 2016. And I mean, shoot, 2016, if you really want to, that was like only like our second. Like we were still in an apartment at that time.
yeah, we had just graduated college, like
Yeah.
so. Yeah, a lot's happened in 10 years, and
Which is a wild
wow,
stat to say, just 10 years of that that game is just crazy. Mitch, I do want to ask you a question because this is an interesting one because this game's coming out in 2027. Who do you think the pre-release character, if you pre-order the game, is going to be?
uh, I'll tell you if they want to smash some records, it better be Moro,
I think it has to be because Xenoverse 2 was Goku Black
right?
when
Yeah,
he was like at the hottest.
probably Moro would be the one um that it would be. But if you wanted to save Moro for like the if you wanted to save him for like maybe another like DLC to get someone, even though the person I'm about to mention could be that second, um, like Mirrors could be sweet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, but
That's
yeah,
why I'm so interested because
probably Moro.
they usually try and hit with the pre-release because they got to give you a reason to get it because it's like
Oh no, I'd almost bet money on it. I'm not going to, but I'd almost bet money on it. This ain't Poly Market or some bullshit. I'd bet money that it would be Moro because they would probably, no, I'm almost certain they probably even now know who the voice actor would be for it.
yeah,
Or,
that's a good point.
they're so with them already having that, then well, why they got them in the studio recording the anime, they should have them in the studio recording the video game too.
Yeah, That's a good. That's a good point. Yeah, I feel like it's got to be one of them. Because they were obviously the big players in Galactic Patrol arc. Now, if they really wanted to be, I mean, they could do that. Android what's his name? OG 73.
Oh yeah.
They could do. They could do him, start him off, then you get Mirison more later. But hey, man, it's real. Xenoverse 3 is real. Everyone's going crazy. We'll see all the stuff. We'll see if you could still, like they did in the past, your Xenoverse, you could transfer your stuff into Xenoverse from 1 to 2. Hopefully, you can do that
Yep.
with 2 to 3. And I guess I mean, I wondered because Xenoverse 2 went for 10 years. So I was just like, you can't retell the story again because this game's gone on for 10 years. So them pushing it into the future and potentially having new threats and all of that, that's probably
Yeah.
the way that they need to go.
Yeah, that helps break away from, just this traditional story that all the games have had to kind of retell about everything that's happened in Z and Super GT. Like, I mean, up until Xenoverse, every game was the same
Yep.
storytelling,
Yep.
you know, from the arrival of Raditz basically to at least up until Gohan defeats Cell. Sometimes it would go into the Buu arc, sometimes it wouldn't, and then and so on and so forth. And you can only tell the same story over and over again. So yeah, Xenoverse will finally break away from having to need to retell that story. I assume there will be plenty of the original story uh, in the game, but you know they could they could tell a story where Goku and Vegeta get plucked out of the present and they have to go fight villains in a different setting 250 years in the future. That helps out a lot. That makes an original story. So uh, that's a good decision that seemingly Toriyama wanted to make with his storytelling with these games.
Yeah. Can't wait. Can't wait to see. Now we can all go to Wishlist Xenoverse 3. Praying because it's 2027, praying for platform, um, different races. And then yeah, let's go from there. It's real,
I hope
Xenoverse 3.
I hope the game releases across all consoles at the same time and not like, a few years later they released it on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like let it all like let it all come out at once, but I mean,
Yeah, we'll see how that. They're not the only other game with a big update. Xenoverse 2 up. I mean, sorry. Sparking Zero had a big trailer last in January that we talked about how they're coming back with a vengeance. And then they had another big trailer this past weekend. 30 new characters, 40 new maps, new game mode. They had their free update today as we speak that dropped survival mode, which actually the captain on his birthday, happy birthday, Captain. He has been live streaming the survival mode for the past hour, almost 2 hours. So he's been playing that on the YouTube if you're not watching the YouTube. But Mitch, characters that we've never seen in a game, Mighty Mast, Chile playable, it's very interesting. Now we're getting some stuff. Technically, we've never had Hellfighter 17. We've had 17, but not Hellfighter. Um,
Mighty Mask not being in another game previously kind
mhm.
of blows my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and it's not like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to form my words with it because it's like I can't believe that another game hasn't. I mean, some of these games have a bazillion people in it,
Hmm.
and like he was never in it. Well, they were never in it, and but like I never thought of it.
Yeah.
Like as I thought back to all of the show, and I'm like, okay, there's that character. They were in it. Okay, they should be in it. Like I never got to the point where I thought of Mighty Mask as being someone playable since it's just a costume of two people. So That's cool. That's cool. It definitely it helps expand even my horizon of how I should think of people.
Yeah. And this DLC, the big one, 30 plus characters, 20 customizable items. That means alternate skins, like we already talked last month. Gohan in the in his Goku G in the Bojack movie. You also saw in this trailer Goku in his jacket from before the Cell game started, and Gohan in his stuff. Four new stages, new game mode. This release is summer 2026. This one's called Sparking Zero Super Limit Breaking Neo. So for a DLC to even get a whole title, and it got a whole new cover for this DLC. It has Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta on the front from the Broly movie because they have a combo attack. It has Super Saiyan Bardock who will be entered into this game. Super Saiyan 2 Team Gohan in the Goku outfit. Demon King Piccolo and Super 17. So I'm very excited for that. Them doing all of that. And yeah, man, I just think too, and then just quickly, Fighter Z, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Daimo's coming.
Yeah.
We've waited a while, and Dragon Ball, like that from January's thing, and then this thing, Dragon Ball's going crazy.
Oh yeah. They're force feeding us now. I always described it as, the community was being starved a little and getting restless, but now, plug your nose, open up wide because this spoon is going to feed you whether you're hungry or not. So it's awesome. It's Yeah, we got a lot going on from here shortly up through next year. So we just need to make sure Grand Theft Auto with these video games, Grand Theft Auto gets released on time, so people don't feel panicked and potentially think about pushing their games back. But
Right. I would also say too, like it's not even over because if we remember, they got the United States tour that they're doing,
right,
so we might
yeah,
even get more new stuff.
yep.
But no, we've waited a while. Sparking Zero, um, Xenoverse 2, Xenoverse 3, the remake of Beerus, the teaser of Frieza, all the other Dragon Ball games getting stuff. Fighter Z. I, the only thing, obviously, because we got to bring it up before we close, the only thing we're missing is the manga.
Right.
I don't know when we'll hear words from that, but that's the only thing missing.
I don't think we're hearing about that this year.
And then that's fair. They might be like, "Hey, you guys are getting all this stuff, so you guys are gonna enjoy it. We'll drop it when you least expect it, and then go from there." And also, Mitch, if you didn't know, speaking of Dragon Ball, today's Chris Sabbath's birthday.
There you go. The goat,
Yeah,
a goat.
yeah.
Actually, he's probably the goat, to be honest with you,
Oh
with
yeah.
how much work he does
Hmm.
in the series itself and
Yeah.
whatnot. He's the goat.
Mhm. Mitch, anything else, man?
Um, no, man, just glad we're here. So yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's all
yeah.
I can say. Happy to be here.
It's great to be you. Dragon Ball is finally pushing back. We'll see how things go. With that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Make sure you like, rate, comment, subscribe wherever you listen to. We'll be back with any more Dragon Ball content that happens from this time of recording to next month. Maybe we'll get some new stills, new trailers, who knows? And yeah, we'll be back. With that being said, L7C, y'all take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.